Hi there. Today is March 28th. I totally remembered to do a post-detox video. Well, my face is always round, but less round than last time. I've just decided I have multiple chins all the time now because that's where like my lymph nodes and stuff are, and they just are permanently swollen. And just, I think the baldness also just kind of makes my head look round anyways, but whatever. And again, lack of eyebrows. I love updating you guys. I can count on like one hand how many eyebrows I have. There's like 12, I think. And same thing with my eyelashes. There's not very many of them. So that's fun. So, let me tell you what happened between now and what was it, last week? It's been a week. So that video I did previous was Wednesday morning. So by Wednesday afternoon, I started having chest pains, which just by definition are not good, regardless of what they are, what they feel like, or what's going on. But I think it was related to my port. So kind of what it felt like was there was a really sensitive vein right next to like where the port was. And it felt like, so the port itself is like a little device, and then there's a catheter that goes to my heart. So it felt like the blood was trying to clot around the catheter, and like there was just too much in the blood vessel, and it was just like trying to explode. Not really sure if that's what was happening, but that's kind of what it felt like. So I had like subtle pains while I was sleeping, but I figured it was because I was sleeping on that side, because I sleep on my side. Like I wasn't like trying too hard, but like there was a little pressure on it. But then it was like consistent pain by Wednesday. So then I was like, great, like, I mean, I'm trying to pass a blood clot, like, one of my blood vessels is trying to explode, like, again, regardless of what's actually happening, chest pain is not good. So I went to the ER, it was nighttime, I probably got there at, like, 8 or 9 or something, and, you know, I only sat in the waiting room, like, an hour, which was no big deal, and then, they get me in, so I'm in the waiting room for an hour, and then they get me into the room, and I'm waiting in the room for like another hour, and like no one's come in to see me at all, and like the guy to get all my information and stuff comes in, and he's like, I see that you were here recently, and I was like, yeah, like 3 days ago, and then he's like, so I assume all your information's about the same, and I'm like, yeah, kind of sad, but whatever. So then I'm in the actual, like, they put me in a room for like an hour, like I said, and like no one comes in, so I'm just like chilling, like, no one cares about chest pains of the cancer patient. That's fine. Again, if you work in the medical field, just, I mean, at all, honestly, anyone complaining of chest pains needs to be seen right away. But whatever. So eventually they get someone in, and it's like late at this point, like 9:30 or 10, which I guess that timeline doesn't really plan out, but whatever. So it's like 10 o'clock by the time anyone even gets in to see me. And the PA is like, you know, explain what's going on. I told her what it felt like. And she's like, okay, well, let's do... Or she explained that there's different, like, lengths of needles when they access me. And my standard is 3/4 of an inch. But when I was in the hospital this last time, because I was having so many issues, they tried a different length. So they tried an inch, which is, I mean, a pretty significant difference considering how much, you know, space there is in here. Not very much. And so the PA was telling me that she's seen it before where the needle pokes all the way through the back. And she's like, it happens sometimes. I was like, that sounds pretty serious. Like, we should check that. But so she just, like, sends me in for an ultrasound, which ultrasounds only check soft tissue. So I was like, you brought up, like, this super serious thing that could totally be contributing to my pain, and you're not checking it. Okay, that's great. So we do the ultrasound, and the ultrasound tech's like, can't find anything. And I was like, cool, awesome, love it. So then I go back to the room, and the PA is like, I'm comfortable enough sending you home right now. And I was like, we resolved nothing, but okay. So that was Wednesday, and she told me to call my nurse, or my doctor the next day. So then Thursday, I called my doctor at like 9 in the morning, my oncologist, and I explained what was going on. But I left a message just because whatever, they're busy. And they don't call me back until like noon. And I'm like, again, chest pains. Hello, I'm sick. Chest pain. Like, I don't... Maybe I'm blowing out of proportions, but whatever. So the pain hadn't gotten any better or any worse, so it was about the same. So I wasn't like too worried. But they call me back at like noon, and they're like, oh, okay, explain to us what's going on. So I explain what's happening, and she's like, okay, I'm gonna go talk to the doctor. And I was like, great. So then they call me back at like 2, and they're like, come in. And I'm like, ugh, like, whatever, like I wasted all morning waiting for this stupid phone call. So I end up going in, and again, it's not my, so I have my main oncologist, and then he has his main nurses. It's none of them. It's a nurse I've never met before, which, like, whatever, but it's just me explaining my situation all over again, you know what I mean? Because all this stuff happens, and, like, people know my history of my port and everything that's gone wrong, and blah, blah, blah. So it's a new person, so then it's, like, not me just explaining what I'm feeling right now. I have to explain everything that's happened previously. So it's just, like, I don't know, when you tell the same story, like, fucking 10 times, and you're a little tired of it? Tired of saying the same story 10 times. Like, ugh. So whatever. I mean, they're more than nice. Again, don't get me wrong. But so I explain to my nurse what it feels like, what happens, like what my history of my port is. It doesn't get a blood return, blah, blah, blah. And then she's like, that's so weird. And I'm like, yes. What are we going to do about it? Like, I understand that it's weird. I understand that it just doesn't work. And like, whatever. So then I don't remember if he was a different oncologist or if he was, like, a nursing student or something, but another doctor came in, which, again, is not my normal oncologist, and he's like, I explained the whole situation again, and he's like, this is so weird, and I'm like, you're right, what are we gonna do about it? So then they talk about how they want to access me just to see, which means being poked by a gigantic needle, just to see, and I'm like, no offense, I know exactly what's gonna happen. I told him, I was like, you're not going to get blood return. Nothing's going to happen. Like, do we have to really poke me with the needle just to see? I'm the one getting poked with the needle, not you. So I go upstairs, get poked with the needle just to see. And upstairs, the way that it works is like the doctors are downstairs, and then upstairs is the infusion room. But the infusion room has like probably like 10 set nurses, but at any given point in time, I could have any of them. So it was the one that accessed me as a nurse I hadn't had before, and then there was another nurse there that, like, consulting, I guess, or whatever, and I'd had him before. Good. So then they access me, and it hurts. Like, not only does it hurt when they stab me, but it hurts when they flush. So, like, this hurts here, and, like, they're doing the whole, like, where does it hurt? And I'm like, right there, right there, right there, right there. And, like, everywhere they poked, it hurt, but just, like, a different kind of hurt, where it was, like, sharp pain, dull pain, medium pain, meh. So it's like, thank you for continually poking me and making sure that it hurts. Like, yay! And again, they didn't get a blood return. And they're like, this is so weird. And I'm like, no offense, I told you guys. Like, this is my port. I know how it works. I've been poked a million times. I know what's going to happen. So then they're like, we want to get you into radiology so we can do a bunch of testing and stuff tonight. So at this point, it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon or 3:30 or whatever. But they couldn't get me in until the next day, because it's like, I guess they close at 5 or something, and it was just too close to the afternoon or whatever. So then they de-access me, which take the needle out of my chest, and like, okay, go home. And I'm like, so it's been 2 days, and I've had chest pain consistently for 2 days, and it hurts a lot. Like, I rated it like a 5 or a 6. Like, it's painful. And you're just sending me home again. Like, I get that scheduling is a thing, and doctors need to be there, and timing's a thing, and no one really wants to stay late, but chest pain, very painful chest pain, cancer patient, sick, does no one care? Again, like, the fuck? Excuse my language, but, So, Friday rolls around. I have an appointment with radiology. They tell me, at this point, they tell me not to eat for 8 hours, so I'm just like, just take it out of me at this point, like, who cares? I've already not eaten, so I'm like prepped and ready for surgery, just take it out. So I get there, my appointment's at like 10:30 or whatever, so I get there at 10, and, you know, they prep me and blah, 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 and I'm laying in bed, and finally the doctor comes in, but it's a doctor I've never had before. So again, I have to explain the whole rundown of everything that's happened to this doctor. And I was like, listen, because they wanted to do a bunch of tests, and then they said possible replacement. And I was like, listen, what you're going to do, you're going to do a dye test, which we already did. And fine, it's been a couple days since then, but the dye test is going to tell you nothing. The dye test is going to say that my port works just fine. Don't do the dye test. What's going to happen? It just doesn't work. It's a small vein. It hurts. I want it out. And so the doctor looks at me and he goes, well, you're in charge here, so let's take it out. And I was like, ah, thank you. Someone's listening. Like, Jesus. And like, don't get me wrong. Doctors totally know what they're talking about. Like, they went to however many years of medical school. Fine. But there's only so many tests that say, oh, it looks fine. It works fine. But it doesn't. I don't know what's wrong. Meh. Okay, again, I'm the one in pain. I'm the one that has to deal with it, not you. Take it out. So, again, bless this doctor. Loved him. He just took it out. He was like, whatever. So, we're back to stage 1 of healing. It's actually been a couple days, but I have no port. It doesn't have that sharp pain anymore. It's got surgery pain, which, you know, is a little different, but it's out. So, that I haven't had a port all weekend. And yeah, because today's what? Thursday? Oh, it's been almost a week. Jeez. So it's been almost a week that I haven't had a port, which is exciting. Because also, you know, it's used for blood draws, but mine doesn't get a blood return, so we can't use it for blood draws. So I was like, there's no point. I'm just going to get needles stuck in my arm anyways. So like, who cares? So that means for my last chemo round, that happens next week. Last chemo round, because there's no possibility that I'm going back for another, just saying. We're just gonna do that PICC line that I was telling you guys about. So it's annoying and in the way, and I can't sit above 20 degrees, but that, to deal with that for 5 days versus dealing with this for 2 weeks at that point and then still not working, I'd say that's a pretty good trade-off. So that's where we're currently at. As for my last chemo round, I want to keep saying last chemo round. Exciting. Oh, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. They have to do, so we haven't done any scans since between 3 and 4 when it was a Lyme. We haven't done any since then, but I get my final scans pretty soon after the last round of chemo, because in the possibility that's not going to happen, I have to do another round. It has to be the same schedule, so it has to be between my 2 weeks. So we will know very soon how it worked. So we're just waiting on the last round. And soon I will have hair again, and I will have eyebrows again, and I'll be able to walk upstairs without dying, and go outside without a mask on, and be human again. So get excited.